I have waited 25 years to be able to make this video for you guys, and I cannot believe that it is happening today. Do you know why I own this pan right here? I bought this over 20 years ago because I was determined that I was going to make the first real angel food cake vegan. This was one of my favorite desserts pre-vegan, and I was like, I'm gonna nail it because I haven't had anything that's quite close. Well, I have tried probably 30 different recipes over all of the years, different ways with different types of flour, cornstarch, aquafaba, cooked down aquafaba, and some of them are pretty good, but none of them are exactly right until now. Hi guys, I'm Dani Taylor. I'm one of the co-owners of VeganProteins online coaching. And if you're a vegan who's interested in interesting high protein vegan recipes, building muscle, losing body fat, we're a team of vegan coaches, so this video is a little different. But if those are things you're interested in, be sure to hit the subscribe button because we do put out new videos every single week. So for years, there have been Facebook groups dedicated to people trying to find the best vegan recipe to make an angel food cake, and just nobody has nailed it. It's just like disaster after disaster, or best case scenario, you get cake. I mean, even bad cake's pretty good, but it's not the same. Angel food cake is super light and fluffy. It's got a little bit of a bite to it. It's essentially a fat-free cake, so it's largely just carbohydrates and protein that are making this cake together, which makes it a nice light option. But the main ingredient in angel food cake is egg whites. And although we found incredible egg substitutions in so many different recipes, we have not nailed it in an angel food cake and a couple of other recipes. But I found this product, this animal-free egg white powder that is actually egg whites, but it's vegan. Okay. We're gonna need to talk about this one. So what exactly do I mean when I say animal-free egg whites? I know it's very confusing. It confused me a lot at first, and I was very skeptical of this. So I did a lot of research on my own, which I'm going to now try to explain to you in the simplest way possible. And hopefully by the end, you'll think this is as cool as I do. So I think it's really important for me to first explain why I went vegan 25 years ago in the first place, and that was exclusively for animal welfare reasons. There are a lot of reasons that people go vegan: animal welfare, the environment, or their health. And all of those reasons are very important, but for me, at the end of the day, it's always gonna come back to that first one as the most important reason for me. So I'm not gonna get into explaining all of the ways that the egg industry is incredibly cruel to animals. That's not the kind of video I'm trying to make, and if you're interested in learning that, you can Google it on your own. But I do wanna talk about the environmental issues surrounding the egg industry. Over 90% of eggs in the United States are coming from factory farms where it takes 53 gallons of water to produce just one egg, and that's assuming that everything goes well. Because we also have lots of situations, as we saw over the last few years, with the bird flu coming and wiping out entire hen populations across multiple factory farms, which also drove the cost of both chicken and eggs through the roof. Not to mention the incredible environmental impact of having to house these chickens, feed these chickens, water these chickens, etc. So if there's any way we can bring that down, that's gonna be awesome. Now, the health perspective is probably the hardest one to talk about because you will find groups of people who say that eating eggs is part of a healthy diet, and you'll find groups of people who are against it. You'll find scientific literature to support both sides depending on what you're looking for. As a vegan, that is not my reason for not eating eggs, but I will say I don't personally believe that there's enough data to support the idea that we need to be eating dietary cholesterol, which is only found in animal products, including, as we all know, eggs, particularly the yolk. However, egg white doesn't contain cholesterol, and the plant version of this here also does not contain cholesterol. So I think that if somebody is deciding that they wish that they could include egg whites in their diet as part of their healthy diet, I think that this is a significantly better way to do it. So how the hell do they make this? I was under the impression that although there were no animals used to create the final product, that there was in fact an animal that they had to start with to extract the DNA from in the first place. As it turns out, this is actually not the case, which is great news for me because I didn't really want to partake in it if that was the case. So what they do is they basically map the gene of the egg white protein. Like, we know what the structure of an egg white protein is, so they create a synthetic version of that. And what they do is they then inject that gene into either yeast or fungus, essentially in a petri dish. It's probably a lot bigger than a petri dish, but you get the point. And then they feed that yeast or fungus, and it starts to replicate that gene over and over. This process is called a precision fermentation, and it is how they are able to create things like vegan whey, vegan collagen, and now vegan egg whites. And even though it's currently a more expensive product to buy than eggs, although I suppose that depends on the time of the year, I think that over time it's going to become significantly less expensive, and it's already more environmentally friendly. There's no way that creating egg white protein in this way could possibly cost more than having to house, feed, and water millions and millions of chickens to lay their eggs. The environmental footprint of these animal-free egg whites is up to 90% less than that coming from factory farms. And of course, my favorite part of the whole process is that no animals need to be bred or killed in order to get it. So, A+ for that. Now the question comes down to, is animal-free egg whites even something that is necessary? Probably not for someone like me or you maybe who's been vegan for a long time. We've been getting by just fine without it. But the fact of the matter is that over 95% of the world is not plant-based, and they are consuming things like whey, eggs, etc. And if this is a way for them to be able to do it without the multitudes of harms caused across the board, to me, that feels like a net win, and that does feel like something that we should be leaning into. Now, there's always gonna be people out there who are total purists, and I know a lot of you guys watch my videos. I know, you tell me you're 100% whole food plant-based, and that is wonderful for you. However, most of the world is not, and we need to be looking to the future for more long-term sustainable options on a global scale. The very last thing I want to say about this is when you look at the package, it can freak you out a little bit because it'll say, you know, animal free, it's vegan, and then it will say contains egg at the bottom. And I looked into this a little bit more, and the reason is because somebody could have a reaction to this if they had an allergy to egg. They might not. And the way that I think about this is the fact that sometimes when you buy something that doesn't have dairy on it, it'll say contains dairy or may contain dairy if it's made on shared equipment. It's really on there for liability purposes. That said, if you do have an actual allergy to eggs, proceed with caution. Use your best judgment here if this is something you want to try or not, because the fact of the matter is I don't think there's enough research to say with 100% certainty whether someone with an allergy would actually have a reaction to this or not. I haven't eaten eggs in 25 years and I didn't have a reaction, but I didn't have an allergy prior to going vegan. So do with that information what you will. So hopefully after all of this, you see how this could be really innovative for the future and certainly innovative for my desire for angel food cake. Let's get back to it. So this recipe only requires a few ingredients. This is definitely one of them, and no, I'm not affiliated with this company whatsoever. I'll leave a link to where I found it down below, but there may be other companies coming out with it as well. Only need a few ingredients, and I wouldn't call this a health food per se because it does rely heavily on sugar, but I don't care. After being vegan for 25 years, this is the recipe you guys are getting today, and I hope that you like it. Go ahead and preheat your oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit. Now in a large bowl, I am gonna sift together 1 cup of cake flour and 3/4 of a cup of sugar. I like to layer them in my little sifter here. You could also use a sieve if that's what you have. I've also in the past just mixed them together in a bowl using a whisk. What we're trying to do is get rid of all of the lumps and kind of add some air to this mix. And then we're gonna set it aside. For this next part, I highly recommend you either use a stand mixer or electric egg beater situation. If you try to do this by hand, you can still do it, but your arms are going to be super, super tired at the end. So this recipe calls for 12 egg whites, which equates to 12 tablespoons of this powder, which is about 60 grams, and then 180 grams or mils of water. So it's 3 parts water to 1 part of the egg white powder, and I'm gonna use my balloon attachment and just let that go for probably about 2 minutes is how long it took for this to really fully incorporate and get that fluffy egg white look that we're after here. Now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna add 1.5 teaspoons of cream of tartar, 1.5 teaspoons of an extract. I normally would use vanilla, but I was out, so I used almond here, and 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and we are going to whip that back together. So I just let that go for about 30 seconds, and I am gonna start slowly adding 3/4 of a cup of sugar to this, and this is where it's really gonna start to look like a meringue. I was not prepared for how much this was actually going to fluff up. Wow, I've never seen that full ever. I have made so many things in this stand mixer before, and it has never come even close to being that full, which just goes to show how much air has been whipped into this at this point. I was really afraid it was gonna overflow, but thank God it did not. But you can see we're starting to get those peaks, and I'm just kind of scraping the sides of the bowl because this is so much mixture that I want to make sure that I've got all of it off of the edges. So you can see how thick and fluffy this is. And so far, if you were to make an angel food cake with aquafaba and a sugar meringue, it would look like this up to this point. Now we're gonna slowly add 1/3 of the cake flour and very gently fold it in with the rubber spatula. I realized this was gonna overflow, so I changed bowls here. Then we're gonna add the next 1/3 of the cake flour mixture, and you see I'm just kind of scooping it in. I'm not really like stirring it. I'm just folding it over and over and over, looking for spots of the dried flour. And there were still a few in here, so I just kept folding around until I felt like I got them all. Now I have my bundt pan here. I put a piece of parchment paper at the bottom because if it does stick there, it's very hard to get it out, but you would never want to grease the pan of an angel food cake. That is how you get it to fall. And then I'm using my rubber spatula to get all of it in there. You can see I still found a couple little bits of the flour there, but I'm just kind of smoothing it out. And this filled the pan almost all the way up to the top. So this is a pretty tall cake. I actually removed the rack from my oven just in case it ended up puffing up too much. I didn't want it to bump into that rack. And then I'm gonna set the timer here for 45 minutes. 45 minutes later, you can see that it didn't puff up over, but what happens with the aquafaba cakes is they fall at this point. This did not fall. So I just let it sit on the counter for about a half an hour, 45 minutes till it was mostly cool. And then I took a knife and I just ran it around the outside edges and then the inside circle, because hopefully if that parchment paper did what it was supposed to do, it's not stuck at the bottom. I think we got it. Moment of truth. Put a plate on top of it and then flip it over for the moment of truth. Oh. Heck yeah. And there we have it. Oh man. Then you just peel that parchment paper off, which I almost forgot was on there for a second. Very gently, it's still a little warm. And this is where you can really start to see that it is in fact the angel food cake that we hoped for. Angel food cake is very spongy. It's got a bounce to it that is not found in most other kinds of cake. And it's at this point I was like, oh yes, we have done it. We have done it. So once it was completely cool, I cut into it. And that is what we want to see. So the pieces of this cake are huge. Even if you cut it into 12 pieces, it's huge. And ideally I would top it with some like melted strawberries, but they're not in season right now. But I had these frozen berries and it is just so good. It sucks up that juice. Oh my goodness. I could watch this all day. All right. Guys, this has been my Everest for a really long time. And now we are here. So, are you ready for our taste test?
I cannot even. Yes, absolutely.
I know I put it up all pretty, but I'm
I should have picked you. Got the better piece.
Knock it over.
I want that piece.
Gotta get real juicy.
Oh yeah.
Normally I would do strawberries, but we didn't have any strawberries.
Blueberries are good.
I just blew on it like it was hot.
Are you serious?
Yeah. What do you think?
I've been waiting for this my whole life. This is so good.
Have you though? Because when I talked to you about angel food cake, you were like, didn't think it was that big of a deal.
Yeah, but I didn't understand what was so cool about angel cake. It's like, okay.
It's not angel cake. Angel food cake. He keeps calling it angel cake.
So you could have this angel cake, or you could have a piece of cake, which is literally what, 700 calories, something like that.
Mm-hmm. So the macros on this, if I cut that huge cake into 12 pieces, which would be this size, just the cake itself, 154 calories, 32 grams of carbs, 6 grams of protein, 0 fat.
And before you showed that to me, before you started filming again, I thought to myself, this thing was 225 calories. And I was trying to go lower than what I thought it would be because I knew it would be very macro-friendly. But I didn't realize it would be that macro-friendly. That's ridiculous.
That's why it's such a great dessert. And that's why, well, it's not the only reason why. There's nothing else like it. There's no other dessert that I know that has that kind of like sponge to it, that kind of snap to it.
Look at the size of that. Like that, look at that piece, right? Like, it's crazy.
It is crazy, and it's just crazy to think how far we've been able to come in terms of vegan food. It's really very, very insane. So what else would you like to see me do with this product? Because I got news for you guys. It can do a lot more than I actually expected it to. So let me know. Or, you know, maybe this type of product just isn't for you, and that's okay too. But for those of you that are interested, I really wanted to show this one. So if you're interested in any kind of one-on-one coaching, that's what we do. That's what we've been doing since 2008. We help vegans get in the best shape of their life, whether that's to build muscle, burn fat, compete in bodybuilding or powerlifting or anything like that. I'll leave an assessment link down below. Fill it out. You'll hear from 𝐶𝐿. If you like the video, don't forget to like the video, subscribe, hit the bell, all the things I'm supposed to tell you to do at the end of a YouTube video, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Later.